Okay, hi. So let's have a lesson today. Number 5, not really going to teach much. We're just going to go through a routine, what I'd normally do myself, with some warm-ups, the form, some different ways of doing the form, which I hope will make clear for you. Okay, so we're going to start off with some nice shaking. Like the crane, loose. Relax the face, naturally smile. Loosening wrists, elbows as you shake. You can stand like this with your feet a little bit together, or you can stand a bit wider, whatever's more comfortable for you, okay? Breathe normally. Notice whether you have a habit to hold your breath when you're exercising. It's quite usual. You're not looking for a big movement. You're looking for smooth, elastic movement. Nice and relaxed. You're not holding your core, your belly tight. Remember that? You're not locking out your arms, but very languid, elastic. So we do some swings. This requires your feet at least a good width apart. Shoulder width is very good, okay? Connect to your body. Really simple thing to say, but a lot of people's experience by doing these things is they feel very disconnected. And that can be very off-putting, okay? Particularly when you're learning coordinated movements. So if we simply say connect to your body, we can elaborate on that and say things like, well, breathe. Because breathing is a process, it's very necessary. It really does you no good if you don't breathe. Okay, very obvious. So, is it a nice sense that the abdomen, the diaphragm moves with your breath? That you feel your ribs moving? But if you don't, that is okay. But it's something to investigate and encourage because it's just good all-round body maintenance, okay? That the structures that are part of breathing move well. So we have this bouncing action, okay? And if ever, you ski, it's very similar to kind of a skiing kind of vibe. We've got this loose thing going on. And we take that loose, languid, elastic force and we start to rotate via the waist, okay? And letting the knees just move up and down, okay? And we can let the arms wrap. And as we're doing that, we can consider various things, am I just really overthinking everything? Or am I really just paying attention to sensations in my body? That is, there's a springiness in my knees. There's a looseness in my waist. There's a looseness, a relaxation in my shoulders, in my elbows, in my wrists. other variations. There's quite a few. We can take one arm over as the other goes behind. We can also do it very slowly, okay? Really feeling what it is to move the arms smoothly. Yeah. This smooth, relaxed, slow motion, really well understood when people observe those little groups of people in parks, etc., doing Tai Chi and wonder why they're moving slowly. So just very nice, relaxed, easy movement, and it gives you time to look at aspects, for instance, of injuries, limited movement from that, or arthritis. The actions of legs working in unison with the body. So for instance here, the way the feet move up and down, okay? Lifting alternative heel to heel. Slowing it. Okay. Smooth movement, motion. So that it's quicker. You're not getting distracted by a lot of the noise in your own mind. For most people, a new relationship with their body comes via doing things like Tai Chi and Qigong. But sometimes it can be quite a long journey, finding that new relationship, particularly when it's to do with improved breathing. Okay, so even here, breathing. Where's the in-breath coming in? Where's it going out? Right. So simple things done with regularity, really helpful, okay? Rather than doing a lot irregularly, doesn't really help much. So we stand and release. Again, paying attention to sensations of softening, loosening, integrating, so the whole body seems to feel joined as we breathe. Loosening skeletal structure, so I'm not feeling that my skeleton is jammed up into parts of my body. It's releasing through the center of my flesh. It's called standing like this, a Zanzuan, like standing on a post, or post standing, often just simply called standing Qigong. There are many different ways of doing it, but the simplest often the better, okay? There's only a slight bend in my knees. I'm not trying to feel that my thighs are making a great deal of effort. I'm just paying attention to opening my palms, releasing my fingers. As as I breathe. Okay, so we're going to do the Taiji Form you've been learning. And now if you're unsure about any of the elements, go back to videos 1, 2, 3 or 4. This is number 5. Okay. If you just need to get a review to then go back, that's fine. It's all different ways of learning. Okay. So we start with the feet a little bit together. And we'll start as if you're following me. Just consider breathing evenly in, evenly out, at no point holding your breath. Take your time. Line up your pelvis to the direction you're facing. Turn your waist only so much that it's comfortable. Be very clear on weight shifts, that is shifting your weight forward here, shifting your weight back, keeping it back, shifting it to the other side. How you create balance. That you're clear on the transitions between each movement. Elbows are always sinking. How you create balance. Okay. Transition. So we're changing sides. Okay. Weight shifts. Elbows always sinking. That is, they're never straightened. How you create balance. Weight shifts. roundedness. How you make the beak, how you create balance. Weight shifts, roundedness. How much you turn the waist or not. How you create balance. Finishing the form. Okay, one hand over the other. Okay, and we'll do it again. What is it to have an imaginary ball? Whether you're holding it, pushing it, rolling it underneath the arms, what would that be like? What's it like to carry one? So this roundedness of the limbs is actually a way of stretching, which doesn't really fit most people's ideas of stretching. And as I also teach yoga and practice yoga, I really understand that people understand it sometimes better. And most people notice when they're trying to make very rounded limb shapes in Tai Chi that quite a lot of stretching happens through soft tissue in the body, tendons and sinews and around joints. So that's why very precise on this rounded feeling aspect. And the weight shifts themselves create stretches. we talked about things like knee alignments before. So as I'm doing this, I could just simply focus on that. I really feel my feet are a really good position in the way they correspond to the floor and how they carry my weight. That is, I don't collapse the arches. I really feel the toes connecting through the shoe to the floor. So change direction. Relax as you turn. Relax as you shift weight. Don't put any force into your palms. Elbows sink. Rounded shapes. Elastic feeling in the way you move your limbs. Remember the idea of a big ball, roll it in, roll it out, and have that dialogue. It's a real tendency for people to kind of zone out. So this slow movement actions is to really enable you to stay with what you're doing with your body. Because it's far easier to regulate your body than it is to regulate your mind. This is what the Taoists found. That's why so many of their arts start with the body before they start with things like meditation and what we now call mindfulness. So mind on the movement as I'm regulating the breath. So we're just going to take some really simple elements to look at. Okay, so if we have this position, okay, and this feeling of a ball. So make sure your knees are standing too narrow, nor too far apart, but something you really feel very comfortable in doing, okay? And also the height. You know, you might want to be this high, you want to load your legs a little bit more. It's entirely up to you. All right, so this roundedness, so from my palm to my palm is rounded. My left forearm is rounded. There is a roundedness between my body, my chest, to the back of my arm. There's obviously a roundedness here, yeah? Okay. So as I breathe in, I allow the space between my palms to increase, and as I breathe out, I release that. So I'm engaging with my scapula being moved. As I breathe in, they move apart, and as I breathe out, they release. The same as I breathe in, my diaphragm moves down, my belly increases, my ribs increase, my chest increases, and as I breathe out, that all releases. Okay. So for instance, if you find there's some movements which you really kind of zone out on, so say, you know, you came round and you did this, and it's all going really well, and you got to here, and then you kind of zoned out a bit, then even here you consider, okay, so I'm back weighted, there's a ball between my left hand and my right elbow, there's even a sense of a ball in my right palm, and as I breathe in, the feeling of a ball underneath my armpits also increases. And as I breathe out, that releases. Again, with all the activity of the lungs, how they affect the ribs, the back, etc. All right. So you stayed with that part that you just felt you were just beginning to lose the connection to the next movement. And if you couldn't remember the next position, you'd literally start again. Okay, you go right back to the beginning of the form. So if it was even earlier, so if it was here, you know, you couldn't get the thing, oh, I have to kind of roll a ball over. You just got to this point again. You just stay in that position and start to play with the breath, how it changes the feeling of your torso and the feeling of your arms as they connect together. There's also a thing about the legs, but let's just concentrate on the upper body at this point in time. All right. Now, if you're really honest with yourself and you found like right at the beginning of the form, you've really got this and it's all going on, your arms come up, and it's all going okay, and even at this point, something seems to slip. And you have to really kind of come back into, what's the next bit? Then you'd simply hold before the next part, before the confusion, rather than going into something where you're now struggling and then you're getting a little bit agitated and then you kind of go, I can't remember the rest. Oh, all right. I found this out, one, by teaching, and two, by learning, because I'm quite dyslexic, that how I had to repeat moves, what I had to do when things slipped, when it's all going very well, but things would just kind of vanish, you know, the sequence. All right? So that from the beginning, you know, you'd have really clear idea of your own memory of doing a movement. You know, as I'm doing here, I'm teaching, I'm considering, am I in the shot, you know, I'm talking to you, but I know what the movements are. And I can also still feel what my body's doing rather than being completely distracted. Okay. So for instance, if you got to here, all right, and you knew there was something about a ball, pause. So now the balls are underneath the palms. And as I breathe in, they lightly push my hands up. And as I breathe out, they release. It's just giving you time to digest a new way of moving, but let's also say it's a new way of being, as in, I am in my body, I breathe, I am doing Tai Chi, I am doing Qigong, this is my practice. If my mind is getting distracted by work, family, etc., etc., can I come back into my body? Can I come to my breath? Can I come to sensation? Okay, and say them and, oh yeah, I think it's a ball. Oh yeah, I think I have to, oh that's it. I move my left foot. And then you got stuck again. One, it's fine. Okay, don't panic. of people get kind of a performance anxiety, or like, oh, it's not happening quick enough, or, you know, I wish I had this, wish it was automatic. I'd love to be able to do that for everyone, but it's not possible. Okay, it all takes time. It took far longer with me than any of my students because of my dyslexia. The ball. So we have an inflation between the palms, and inflation in the armpits, because, you know, sure, your lungs are here, yeah? Your lungs are not just at the front, they're three-dimensional. And a release. So now you're getting like a body memory, yeah? And also you're equating it with, it's not suffering, all right? If you stand here and grimace and think really hard, all you're telling your body, your neurology, your biology, is this is unpleasant, let's not do this again. Right? If you're standing here and breathing and going, oh, it's really nice to breathe. Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah, I'm really feeling, I'm really getting this now. You're going to want to do it again. Okay, I remember the next bit, I step, oh, I've got to take the ball, that was like this, now what is that? Okay, that's vertical, and I kind of make it horizontal, okay, but for the life of me, what do I do next? Do you get the idea? There's only a few people within a percentage of a class who can basically learn a form really smoothly from beginning to end. Most of us, as in including myself, it's all very much, we get an overall picture, we get a feeling of it, and we have to keep coming back. So the idea is the teaching, the learning is circular. It is not linear, all right? There's a linear aspect to what is provided, but we always have to come back, as I do with my teachers. You know, I still have teachers. We come back to another part that we did, we knew really well, we had another little aspect, we go, oh, it's that, okay. And also there's something very nice about this idea about taking time. There is no rush. That the quickest way to learn something is slowly, methodically, piece by piece, like a musician would, like a carpenter would, like a scientist would, piece by piece. Sheet of music after sheet of music, formula after formula, ability to carve one thing before you carve another. All right. Now we have this nice thing about the ball diminishing until there's nothing. So here it's the aspect of the ball, the shape, the spherical nature of the feeling between the back of my left hand and my chest, and how that increases and diminishes with the breath. And how that stretches. Okay, so the breathing increases the size of the sphere, so my ribs stretch, the soft tissue of my arm stretches, and then releases as I breathe out. So here. So for instance, you couldn't think any further in this position. What's the feeling of breathing? So it affects my armpits, breathing, that it opens my back, breathing, that it releases my back. What do I feel as I'm doing that? What am I becoming aware of as I do that? But it's quite a wonderful journey to start feeling different aspects of your body, from quite obvious, skeletal, muscular, to things that are a lot finer and finer. All right? So we're going to finish off now, but you get the idea. Give that a go throughout your form. If you only have a little time, just take a few postures like this. Kettle's boiling. Just take a few moments, breathing within a posture. It's a great way of really hardwiring particular shapes of Tai Chi postures into your mind. Yeah. And so your body really knows them. So we'll finish off. Some nice loosening. Okay, so the crane. And there's a lot longer versions of the crane warm up and cool down on my YouTube channel, and also beautiful places like Shot It in Greece a few years ago. Very relaxing. Take your time. Balance onto the balls of the feet if you can. Look up if you can. One hand over the other. Just let your knees go a little as you breathe in and out, relaxing. This nice idea of melting all the way into the floor to create what the Chinese call sung. Sunk energy, this loose, relaxed, sunk energy. And there you go. Very welcome to do that a lot longer, but for the brevity of this, we do it just for a short moment. Take care, see you next time.